Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates in the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. We've got a Bay12 Games blog post here. It's a screenshot of world generation, and I'll do a little side-by-side for you at the end. Let's dive in. So on the 22nd, there's a post from Tarn on the Bay12 Games website. The post is, of course, the first one up there if you want to go to the website right now and read it for yourself. And Tarn says, for the context, here's the news from last week. See the video from last week for context. And he says, the work concerned Legends mode, turning it into a little browser-style critter with clickable links and tabs. It's quite fun to surf around. Then he goes on to say, most recently, I've moved on to some of the more world generation things and have generally been trying to make that process a little friendlier. There's now a nice and colorful history readout that advances as you go here. Most important, the event list, the event of the last 1,000 is added every second, so you get a decent collection of events. I've also cut up the history-making routines so that the input is much more responsive, even as the years get into the hundreds and slow down. The change doesn't speed up the process itself, of course, but it's easier to pause and stop. The colorful text in the short world generation chronicle there is not clickable, though it has occurred to us that we could in fact let you see some form of Legends pages even during world generation now. I'm a little worried about this because certain information is only finalized once World Gen is over, but it'd probably still work okay. Although it's funny that the player could get sucked into browsing before the world is even made and saved. Seeing more information there also makes an active World Gen that the player can mess with feel more possible, even if we'll reserve that for the Mythy much later. All right, so let's actually dive into this and kind of unpack the screenshot itself. So the screenshot itself, which I've kind of been flashing between and showing you a couple of times, is like, you know, the fresh map as well as like the little icons that you can see in the backdrop, but primarily this wonderful little screen here. The use world as now, continue generating, and then back to main menu. Of course, these are the use world as command that we had previously, the, of course, continue working forward or continue the years passing, and of course the abort, as it used to be called, but now back to main menu, cancel button. So these are, of course, clickable. I don't see any hotkeys corresponding, but I hope that they have hotkeys, and I just want to highlight, though, this little box right here. This is actually really, really cool that you can get like a live printout, because like one of the most important things for me with a world is like finding out the history of it. And very often I will generate a world and then go into Legends and look at the history of it and then just delete the world and go generate a new world because I didn't like the history. The fact that we can actually see the history as the world is generating is actually kind of a huge quality of life feature. I really, really, really like this change. Like, this gives us like a functionality that I don't even think DF Hacker has right now. I don't think you can actually watch the world as it's generating. So that's really, really, really cool. And also being able to see the information over on the right over here, the yellow clay, the very deep soil, the aquifers, the metals, and all that is, as the world is generating, is extremely cool. Something else I wanted to just point out here. For ages, people have been complaining about the fonts that like to show up for Dwarf Fortress. They're not present here. These are different colorations than previously. Aquifer used to be an almost unreadable blue, just as an example, and red used to kind of poke you in the eye a little bit, and very deep soil used to be a much darker brown. So, like, there's actually been a lot of, like, changes made to the actual color palette here. Anyways, for those of you who are maybe uninitiated, this is what world generation looked like previously. So this is a massive improvement. I really like these past two updates just purely because getting to see Legends mode and then also the changes to world generation, which maybe in the grand scheme of things are very small changes, but massively change the flavor of the game. I think these are really cool. I'm curious to know what you think. Leave a comment down beneath this video if you are interested. Also, if you are watching this on a Sunday, a new episode of my podcast may be about to drop. There's a link in the description if you would like to check that out as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you want to support this video, of course, there's a link to the Patreon in the description. And please, go play the game.